Hey,
What?
hey,
Hey,
stop right there.
Hold on.
Stop.
Wait a second.
Get down to the ground.
Well, let me explain. I was
down.
just
Shut up.
Okay.
Put your
just,
hands on
just
the
let
floor.
me explain.
Shut up and get down to the ground. What are you doing? Stop that. Hands on the floor.
What the hell?
Don't you hate it when you're tasked with hunting down a World War II Nazi to find out that the secret research he's been working on in Siberia is actually part of a huge government conspiracy? Me too, happens to the best of us. Second Sight has often been compared to PsyOps, which coincidentally came out only a few months prior to it. So many people have overlooked this game, including its developers, because for many years this game was near impossible to get, and it wasn't listed anywhere on Codemaster's website for a good period of time. But while we wished that time would allow us to forget Sonic 06, I'm glad time didn't forget Second Sight. While the PC version was known for buggy performance and poor optimization, the console versions of this game were actually held in decent regards. My first time playing this was on the GameCube, but for this video I'll be playing the PlayStation 2 version, which I'll admit has slightly inferior graphics, but that was just par of the course for PS2 games a lot of the time. Second Sight was one of those games I don't even remember how we ended up getting it, because I know neither me nor my brother asked for this game, but it just showed up one day. I think it was just sort of a thing for parents in the 90s and early 2000s to just go to a store and pick up whatever games were popular or looked like something our kids would like. Either way, my parents must have been visionaries because they managed to bring home what I would come to understand is an underrated classic. Apparently, and I'm not the only one who thinks this either, because the game was included in the 2010 book 1001 Video Games You Must Play Before You Die. With a mysterious box art that doesn't give much away, you're left wondering what this game could possibly be about. Well, let me break it down for you. Second Sight is a stealth action game where you play as a man with amnesia being brought into some kind of medical institution with a fairly interesting opening scene.
Hey, come on, Harry, buzz me through.
What you got there? Sheesh, is this guy a mess or what?
That's nothing. You should have seen him before.
Guess he won't be dating again.
And like he's ever getting out. He's a psycho killer.
Sweet, what'd he do?
That's classified.
Like you even know. Why do they keep these losers alive?
The lab wants him.
As what? A crash test dummy?
Who knows? He's been wired up to a box all summer. And maybe he's curing cancer.
Hey, did you see that? Do you think he can hear us?
He can hear all he wants. Hey, Doc, more monkey juice over here.
Yes. Be careful with that one. Let me see. Hold his arm a moment.
You're tasked with escaping, and shortly after starting the game, you discover that you have psychic powers. At the start, all you have is telekinesis and healing, but as the game expands, you gain projection, possession, invisibility, and even psychic energy attacks. The game is split into two types of levels, present-day levels and flashbacks of 6 months ago, which you have to periodically play throughout the game. It's from the first of these that you learn that your name is Dr. John Vattic, an MIT graduate who specializes in parapsychology, more specifically in debunking it.
Debunk psychics. I don't confirm them.
The US Marine Corps lists Dr. Vattic with assisting them in their infiltration unit called Winter Ice, commanded by Colonel Joshua Stark. It's only after his arrival, though, that Dr. Vattic finds out his role is less consulting and more shooting.
I'm in a squad now?
We'll explain it all at the briefing. 1800 hours. Be there.
One of the biggest signs of foresight from the developers, no pun intended, is that the tutorial level can actually be skipped. So if this is your second or third time playing this, you won't find yourself playing this over and over again. As far as tutorial levels go though, it's pretty thorough and kind of fun actually. I especially like the challenge at the end of the level which tests all that you've learned. It's here though that you learn the gunplay can be a little awkward at times and that you have to lock onto targets and pull the joystick back to adjust your aim, and you kind of have to just sort of hold it there to be precise with your shooting. It's awkward, but the good news is that it's not too often that you need to focus on precise shooting like this, but you can enter first person mode to shoot more accurately, albeit while at a standstill. It's not egregious or anything. I would say that it's fine. After training, you're giving a briefing that more or less sums up what the entire objective is here.
And has expressed some concern that his research could be a threat in the wrong hands. We've managed to verify his identity as Viktor Grienko, seen here, studying in St. Petersburg, where after boasting he would revolutionize psychology, he was kicked out for unethical practices. 9 years later, he found a happy home with the Germans, running experiments into psychic phenomena at a POW camp on the Belo-Russian border. In 1944, the Red Army liberated the camp and claimed that Grienko was killed in the assault. However, rumors soon surfaced of a research project initiated by Stalin in western Siberia, which ties in nicely with his recent appearances at the U.S. hydrocarb pipeline being built outside Tyumen Oblast. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like you to go and find out what Professor Grienko has been researching for the past 50 years, and why he's so desperate to be granted political asylum. Colonel.
Thank you, sir. The Pentagon has given us permission for a small team insertion. The Winter Ice Squad will drop here in Tyumen Oblast, just 30 clicks from the hydrocarb pipeline. From there, we will track down Grienko and his research. Any questions?
Yeah. Are you crazy?
No, Dr. Vattic. Any other questions?
How did the U.S. approve anything so politically risky?
That's classified.
Well, then how did you confirm psychic research?
Also classified.
Then why do you want me here?
We don't.
Our advisor tells us we may need your expertise on the ground.
Okay, well, my expertise says that it's a fraud. I debunk psychics, I don't confirm them.
Perhaps you never met a real one.
Meet Jane Wilde, Dr. Vattic.
I know who she is. She's a mystic. She's a fake. She's your advisor?
Hello, John. Good to see you again.
Every time I publish, your special advisor attacks my work for being straitjacketed by the scientific method.
Doesn't the scientific method call for weighing evidence before drawing a conclusion?
Exactly.
Then how do you know Grienko is a fraud?
Why? I'm not going to Siberia.
A pity, because no one else can save us.
Character models in this game are ugly and cartoony, just the way we like our PlayStation 2 games. They definitely haven't aged very well, and I'm sure many will say the same about me, and possibly these videos if you're watching this years in the future. Jane Wilde is introduced as a would-be psychic, and John is instantly at odds with her. With that, the flashback is over, and we're back to the present, where we can now check on how the guy we just killed was slacking on the job using Instant Messenger. One thing I find really cool here is that if you close this app and reopen it, you can actually change the dialogue being typed to you. The game actually responds to your actions. It's a pretty nifty Easter egg. It also introduces you to the core mechanic of the game, checking computers. Computers in the game are all for maps, information, codes to unlock doors, the ability to shut down security cameras, and more. If there's a computer laying around, chances are it's important, so you better check it to make sure that no one is looking at porn at work. That becomes your primary goal for the level, making your way to the patient records room for more information, and along the way discover your charm ability, which allows you to turn invisible to sneak past enemies. But don't expect to be an infinite absolute ability, as it has its own limitations. Cameras are equipped with infrared sensors so they can see through this trick. Touching enemies can alert them, and if you use your powers for too long, you're left with a headache which makes you a sitting duck. This means managing your powers is key. While you can try to gun your way through the game, this is ultimately a failing strategy most of the time. In most areas, enemies will keep spawning infinitely so long as you're alerted to your presence. The better tactic is to hide from foes and take them out silently whenever possible. At any time, if enemies become aware of your presence, they can call for help by sounding alarms, which will force you to hide to make them stop. You have to play carefully, and that's part of the fun, is figuring out where to go. You have to slip past people and figure out when to fight. It never really becomes frustrating though, as the game feels like it gives you enough checkpoints to where you don't feel like you're set back too far when you die, which is good because you're going to make a lot of mistakes during your first time playing the game. Kinda like me with my student loans, as a lot of this game revolves around hiding. However, not to an obnoxious degree. It's no Metal Gear Solid, that's for sure. You've got a few other tactics you can utilize, such as taking hostages, knocking people out, hiding bodies to avoid alerting other enemies, and so on. There's actually a multitude of ways to approach every level, and I actually kind of like that. Sure, there are definitely plenty of wrong ways to approach the problem, but it's refreshing to have multiple solutions. You manage to get to the patient records where you look up records of your former teammates from Winter Ice to see that Jane was killed in action, and you're treated to another flashback. The flashback segment make up about half the game, so you better get used to them. We're back about 6 months ago with Winter Ice, who have managed to convince John to go to Siberia after all.
What am I doing here?
You're here to change things for the better, John.
What things?
That's what we've come to find out.
But what does it have to do with me?
Everything, John. You're the only one who can protect us.
From who? Grienko?
It's not Grienko. It's what he may have created.
What?
We're in danger!
So this is where you start to realize the flashback segments of the game are a bit more action-oriented, with stealth being used in enclosed areas or areas where you're without your squad. Honestly, I'm not mad about it, but can we just talk about the fact that Dr. Vattic, who has only really been trained possibly for a day or so at best, is an absolute master of the sniper rifle?
Nice work, Dr. Vattic.
This absolutely boggles my mind at how good he is with this thing. I've never served in the military, but I can't imagine that they would give a sniper rifle to someone who is so lowly trained. But hey, it's a game and it's a joke. Also, it helps that it's one of the most satisfying weapons to use in the game. To be honest, the guns in the game all feel pretty decent to use. While the targeting system isn't perfect, as I've already mentioned, the gunplay is actually pretty decent. I wouldn't put it on the same level as Half-Life, but you can run and gun with relative ease. These levels in Siberia kind of have this sort of early Call of Duty vibe to them, but in a good way. Also, in true video game fashion, your teammates praise the hell out of everything you do.
Nice work, Dr. Vattic.
Jane runs off on her own and John chases after her, only to predict the building is going to blow, though John himself never really acknowledges that he has no way of knowing that before it happens, though.
Are you crazy?
I saw something, John! I need to find...
No time. Jane, we've got to get out of here. This place is gonna blow.
What? How do you know?
Quickly, down here.
No! They're goners for sure.
So this is where you get sort of a protection mission, but unlike escort missions that make us all groan, your allies actually have guns and try to defend themselves throughout most of the game. I say most of the game because, well, don't worry, we'll get into that. Jane's AI is far from terrible, and she makes an earnest effort to heal herself when she can, and stay out of gunfire, of course. She will also call for the player's help when she's in trouble, and the health bar is fairly generous. Honestly, I have to admit, this is all designed very well to where the player doesn't get annoyed. I mean, we've all endured the escort missions of other games, that's for sure.
He's been tortured.
John and Jane find their way out of the facility, but not before discovering Grianko has moved to another village not too far away. So the Winter Ice team have to make their way in that direction. When John comes back to the present day, he notices Jane's file has been changed, saying she's alive now, with paranoid schizophrenia. She's incarcerated in a facility in Vermont, basically meaning that Dr. Vattic has successfully changed the past. He doesn't have time to question it though, and has to make his escape and go pick her up. From here, you're going to have to find your way to the parking lot so you can make it to Vermont to go pick up Jane. And this is where the game's stealth and combat mechanics really start to ramp up. You gain access to your final base power, projection, which allows you to make an ethereal projection of yourself, which has many uses from flipping switches that are out of reach in places, scouting ahead, the works. This is another great example of the game's designed in such a way that you can really play it the way you want, and there's many ways to skin a cat here. Ultimately though, you have to use your powers not just for combat, but for solving puzzles too, and you're going to be faced with a few of them. By the time you make it to the upper level of the parking lot though, you receive your first upgrade to your powers.
Hold it right there, you freak!
Watch him, Harry. He's a frickin' live wire.
Control, Gamma Team here. We've apprehended Vattic near the elevator.
Be careful. Don't turn your back on him for a minute. We'll be there to take him in.
Wait a minute. Something's wrong. He's having some kind of fit.
Hello? Are you there? Gamma Team, do you copy?
With all of your powers, once you understand them and how to use them, then you get the upgraded version of them that require you to think about them in a new way. That's something this game does really well and I truly appreciate. And that is that it gives you the ample time to understand the tools at your disposal before throwing new ones at you. It gives you plenty of time to figure out how to use every weapon in your arsenal, and then instead of throwing new ones into the mix, it evolves what you already have naturally. So many games make the mistake of just allowing feature creep to overwhelm the player, so it's nice to see games that aren't doing that. Your final break out of the facility isn't met without resistance, but Dr. Vattic eventually makes his exit and we're off to the ward to pick up Jane. At the start of the level, you can actually check your surroundings to find a sniper rifle, so you can either kill your way inside or sneak your way inside. Again, I absolutely love the freedom and how you can approach each scenario. I can't help but think of games like Manhunt 2 where you're so brutally punished for not approaching it the way the developers intended. Also, you unlock your improved telekinesis, which now allows you to pick up living targets. Once you're inside the slime, you actually come to a part in the middle where you can take advantage of the fact that the doctors are unaware of who you are and simply just ask them for information. Or you can gun them down and brute force your way through it.
Doctors don't know who I am. I should try to use this to my advantage. Where is Patient Wild being held?
I don't know.
Tell me!
High security, the West Wing, please! Don't hurt me!
Eventually though, you do come to find Jane, who has become catatonic and regressed almost to a childlike state.
Jane, it's okay. I'm here now. It's me. John, remember? Here, let's see. That's it, Jane. You can do it. Come on, it's time to go.
We couldn't avoid it forever. This part is an escort mission. Jane can't defend herself worth a crap here, but you can use your charm ability to get her to calm down if she starts freaking out. Fortunately, as far as escort missions go, this one isn't that bad, but I don't think anyone likes these in video games. Probably because they tend to slow the game down and result in game overs for things outside of the player's control, such as bad AI. The good news is that Jane's AI isn't terrible, and she generally does do an okay job at following you, so you'll find yourself getting past the level without too much trouble, but you might get turned around a few times trying to figure out what you're exactly supposed to do. Admittedly, I've gotten stuck here before and had to peek at a guide in my original playthrough as a kid, but eventually you will escape into the sewers.
John?
Jane, thank God you're okay. What happened to you? Look, I need to know, how did it end up like this? Who are those people?
I can't remember.
What about the Colonel? Where is he?
The Colonel's dead. They shot him. You were there.
And another flashback level where we once again are given the glorious sniper rifle. Again, I still can't get over how good John is with a sniper rifle at such minimal training. He could give the Army Rangers a run for their money. So once again, we have to sneak into a Russian installation where we have to sneak around and get more info on Granco. Also, we can play an arcade machine which has a knockoff of asteroids on it. Clearly, there is no situation imminent or dire enough for John not to contemplate frivolous and stupid actions. Eventually, you manage to dig up the files to find where Granco is hiding, and you start heading in that direction, following astral projections of the children that Granco is conducting his research on.
There, more USHC equipment. I'll go first. The floor looks unstable. What?
Colonel, no! Okay, squad, search him, and watch out for others!
John Vattic, come to the brains. Save us.
Who are you?
Are you one of the children from the project?
Yes, the children. You will help us.
Look at me. How can I help you?
You are like us. You have the powers.
What? What? What do you mean, psychic?
Why fight against it?
Because it's not real.
This will help.
Huh?
There's another one up there! Get in cover and bring him down!
So from this point onward, you can now use your powers in both the present and the past, this more or less showing when John's powers awakened. And they actually mesh well here too. While you have access to proper guns and gunplay, they add just a little bit more espionage to your military infiltration. One thing that's funny to do here is take over the enemy soldiers using a projection ability, kill another soldier and wait for them to all turn on each other. Then you get the big surprise.
This can't be right.
What?
This equipment. It's not Russian. It's US Special Forces.
You mean...
Yeah. Our side.
Surprise, surprise, they're in cahoots with someone stateside. Back to present day, John and Jane make their escape through the sewers. This section is a bit more stealth and less gunfighting, but not in a bad way. Though there's some puzzle solving to it, it's not too difficult. But with almost all of your powers leveled up, you have enough at your disposal to make this easy work.
Are you okay?
I think so. I keep getting these flashbacks. At first I thought it was my memory coming back, but things keep changing.
We need to find the Colonel.
The Colonel's alive.
Of course he is. They tried to court-martial him. They covered up everything.
Where is he?
He disappeared before they could arrest him. But he gave me an address. A place to go if I was in trouble.
Turns out we were able to change the past once again, and the Colonel is alive, but he is living in Queens, which some might consider worse than being dead. We're introduced to the NSC agents who are working for an organization for a man named Hansen.
Please sit down. Put your hands up top so I can see them. What are you doing here?
Unfortunately for our NSC friends, the Colonel's old neighborhood is ripe with street crime, and there's gang turf wars left and right. There's a number of ways to approach this level, but I personally found the most simple ways to win the trust of the gang by having a shootout with the NSC, getting a tattoo, and delivering a package that's definitely not drugs. With their help, they lead you to the Colonel, who tells you the fate of Winter Ice.
All right, real easy now. Put your hands up.
Okay. Don't shoot.
John? John, my God, you're alive.
Colonel?
I thought you'd been killed. With the others in Dubrensk.
What do you mean, with the others?
Everyone on the Winter Ice team. Those bastards killed them all. They killed them all, John.
Back to 6 months ago once again. This level allows us to put our powers to use protecting our team, which we can use to heal them too. So from here on out, any escort mission gets a lot easier. Using our powers and abilities, we're able to infiltrate the facility where Grienko is being kept.
Vattic, you okay? I lost you for a second.
I was back in Dubrensk. The team was alive.
Yeah, you were lucky to get out without taking casualties. I was damn proud of them. You did good yourself.
Wait, everyone got back alive?
For all the good it did us. When we got back, they just used us. Used us as scapegoats.
But why? What would they have to cover up?
You don't remember? The facility under the village? Grienko?
The children.
Human guinea pigs. For his psychic project. That bastard really did have repeatable results.
And that was the Zener project.
Yeah. And now Hansen started his own experiments over here, based on Grienko's research.
Wait, who's Hansen?
Who's Hansen? The director of tactical weapons research for the NSC. He was there, in Dubrensk.
Jane.
Wild?
The building is surrounded, Vattic.
Vattic.
Come out with your hands up.
Take these notes. Take everything. Get to the agency building. Listen, it's all there. I'll get you out of here. Look, you can still make a difference.
Stark helps John make his escape, and my lord, this level has a ton of shootouts. It's like the anti-stealth level, to be honest. With Stark's help, John managed to escape the NSC, and thanks to the files that the good colonel provided him, John now knows where the NSC headquarters is in New Jersey, so he heads there. A tough break.
Can I help you?
I'm here to see Director Hansen.
And you are?
John Vattic. I guess you've heard of me.
And we're in the final stretch. The NSC headquarters is sort of like a big stealth puzzle. You can approach it in a number of different ways, but eventually discover that Hansen has multiple facilities all over the world at this point. This is where John gives himself a headache to have another flashback. Back in the past, John is sent alone to rescue the children using Grienko's psychic project. Get ready for lots of stealth, because this level is not one that you want to have gunfights in. Enemies will spawn faster than you can take them out, and you will find yourself dead in minutes if you have poorly timed gunfights. It's here though that you run into the psychic combat units who have shields protecting them from your psychic attacks, showing that Hansen has been further along in his experiments than we knew. This is a nice twist for gameplay perspective, but it's kind of pointless to introduce them so close to the end of the game. The next level is long stealth section, and it feels a bit sloppy compared to other levels in the game, but nothing too egregious. John managed to save each child in Grienko's research project before encountering Grienko himself.
Grienko?
Have you come to help me with my things? This is a masterpiece. First repeatable results in psychic phenomena. Can your mind grasp the implications?
I have some idea.
Yes. It explains how we found children with the gift. The process of unleashing their power, survival rates, side effects, everything. How to fully unleash their psychic abilities. We were ignored by the fools in Russia. Men with no vision, no money. Here's to America, eh? No vision either, but you have money. You will see the world change, and you will be able to say, I was there, I touched books that changed the future.
You're insane. They're children, not weapons, Granko.
Don't be so blind. What about you? I see the strength in you. Could you be a weapon? Director Hansen is building a new facility in your USA. We will finish my work there.
When John comes back to present day, he marches up to Hansen's office and confronts him.
Ah, Dr. Vattic. Finally. You've been giving us quite a runaround, haven't you?
I know everything, Hansen.
No? What do you really know, Dr. Vattic?
I know what you did in Dubrensk. And I know what's going on here.
Research and development, Dr. Vattic. Disciplined inquiry leading to practical results. They had no idea of the potential in Russia. We're simply taking things a step further.
Further? You slaughtered those people!
No, I think you're a little confused. We know what really happened in Dubrensk, don't we? You and Stark's mercenaries running around murdering innocent children. You lost control!
No!
And how do you explain what you've done now? The bodies you've stepped over to get here?
I just want to stop this.
Stop it? Oh, don't make me laugh. You're the very reason it has succeeded.
No, I'm the reason it's gonna end.
Oh, please. Do you really think I would have allowed you to escape unintentionally? Your little runaround was nothing more than a test. And your performance was better than even I had hoped for. But now the experiment has come to its end. And so have you.
I'm stronger than you think, Hansen.
Perhaps. But it makes no difference. You can't stop us now. We have samples all over the country. You're too late.
Sample? They were people!
Oh, suffer the little children. Well, what are you going to do? Kill me?
You see, Vattic. The cards have been dealt, and I hold the winning hand. You can't change the past.
You're wrong, Hansen.
One last time we go back to the past for our final level. As expected, Granko gets taken out, and we make our way to the lowest level to finish off Hansen. And this is where the big reveal of the game comes, as we keep flipping between the past and the present at what first looks like some kind of psychotic breakdown.
John, you gotta understand, you're not really here. What do you mean? This is not the present. This is a possible future. But I've been here already. John, don't lose yourself. Stay focused. Remember where you really are. In the Zener base, under Dubrensk. You must stop Hansen.
And that's the big surprise. The past is actually the present. That is the second sight, the ability to see a possible future. I know this sounds cliche by today's standards, but 13-year-old me was blown away by the surprise. Eventually you make it to Hansen and let the children have at him. And so the day is saved thanks to Dr. John Vattic. The ending is somewhat unceremonious though, and I have to admit, it's kind of... it's not terrible, but it just feels so empty. There's not really much going on in the end, and it doesn't really give much closure in my opinion. But it's still a pretty good ending, and I guess I couldn't see the game ending any other way. I actually have to talk about the sound design in this game because the soundtrack is just so chilling at times and it fits the mood so perfectly. I don't think I've ever really heard a game similar to it, but it just has this super mysterious vibe to it. You've been hearing it a lot throughout this video, but I'll give you a second to just listen to it here. The music is actually done by Graham Norgate, and he's worked on other fantastic games such as Killer Instinct, GoldenEye, and even Crysis. The tone is set pretty well for every single level in the game, and I have to hand it to him, he did a fantastic job on this one. Speaking of sound, the voice acting in the game is quite impressive too, very much so for 2004, hell even by today's standards. Dr. John Vattic is actually voiced by Andrew Lawson, which as far as I can tell, he went on to focus more on animation after this and less voice acting. Another interesting fact, by the way, is Colonel Stark is actually voiced by Tom Clark Hill, who would go on to voice the bland piece of trash player character from the controversy-focused game Hatred. It's a shame to see. As I mentioned before, the level design in the game is fairly well done, and I think there's only a small handful of times where I got stuck my first time playing, because they really did everything they could to make sure you don't just wander around aimlessly. I did get turned around once or twice, but I was back on track pretty quickly. I also enjoyed the fact that you can change locations fairly frequently in this game, so it means you aren't looking at the same bland and boring level designs over and over again. You sort of got a new place to look at quite frequently, and just when you're bored of a location you've already moved on to somewhere else more interesting. There sadly isn't too much to unlock after beating the game though. Actually, there isn't anything at all. No making of, no bonus mode, no nothing. You got a pretty cut and dry release here, and that's a shame because this game might only take a few hours to finish, but it's so good you might play it again. Hell, I think this is like my 5th time playing it overall, not counting when I was a kid playing it for the first time. It's a fun adventure that just feels good to revisit. It's like seeing an old friend again and reminiscing about long times past. And to be fair, this was part of the norm for games back then. As I've mentioned many times on this channel, replay value used to just mean the game was so good that you just wanted to play it again. Second Sight is definitely a game that makes me feel that way too. I'll likely play it a few more times before I die, and I'll likely force my children to play it too, and if I ever trick her into it, even my wife. The powers in the game I always felt seemed fully developed, and I personally never really felt like there should have been more, but some people may disagree with me there. The PC version of this game, though, does have a lot of compatibility issues with modern systems, and I'm not entirely sure if they've been worked out yet, but you're getting a solid experience, that's for sure. I keep thinking every time I see this game that the GameCube version looks better than the PS2 one, but I'd have to see them side by side to be sure. And I have no experience with the Xbox version as I didn't get into the Xbox until the 360 days, so sorry if you were hoping for a comparison. Thankfully, this one isn't entirely lost to the sands of time, as THQ acquired it and they put it back on Steam, and they even got the rights to make a sequel if they choose to. I don't know if it really needs one, but there might be some options they could go with if they so chose to do so. I'd certainly give it a spin if they did. I think it was actually my brother who asked for this game back in the day, and I'm thankful he did. He seemed to have a knack for finding gems on the PS2 and GameCube. Second Sight might not have been taken care of better than other games in this era, but it at least is still acquirable in some capacity, even if it is in a semi-buggy state. With some tweaking, I'm sure you could get the Windows version running alright. Nintendo really should re-release this bad boy on the upcoming Switch 2 GameCube emulator, but that's assuming anyone can afford the Switch 2, because I know I can't. Until then, we'll have to make do with what we have, but with companies re-releasing and remastering classic buried gems such as the good boys at Night Dive Studios, one can only hope, and hoping is what keeps me going. Hell, I've been hoping for anything Chrono Trigger related for at least 15 years. Hope. It keeps us from writing angry letters to game studios over and over, that's for sure. At least for the most part, as I'm sure Nintendo still gets many every day wondering when Mother 3 will be released in the West. Second Sight is just that game that kind of came and went, and it came at the wrong time. It's regarded as a superb game that just didn't catch as many people's attention due to other games overshadowing it, or just poor marketing. It's not 100% clear why it didn't catch on, but most that do play it love it, myself included. Kid me would never imagine I'd be here almost 20 years later doing a video on it. Hell, Kid me would be surprised I even know how to work video editing software. While it may be far too late to expect any kind of sequel or continuation of Second Sight, we may get a remaster eventually, be it through AI upscaling or genuine hard work to bring it to modern platforms. It's a gem that actually has aged quite nicely all things considered, and a game that is still worthy of praise. There's still the usual fiddliness that comes with games of this era, but Second Sight just does a superb job fighting off the jank, and leaves you with a refreshing take on the stealth genre. It didn't try to mimic Metal Gear Solid, and that's a good thing, as variety is the spice of life. Many will argue that Psyops is the superior game, and that may be true on some level, but Second Sight just feels more classic and it deserves more recognition. The story is somewhat simplistic by today's standards and far from groundbreaking, but it's another great example of how polished gameplay and refined basics can really make a story only necessary to justify a game. As I said before, Doom hardly has a story at all, throughout most of the franchise, and we love those games because their gameplay just makes them so enjoyable. With Second Sight turning 20 years old last year and the company that made it being absorbed in Deep Silver, maybe we'll see something. Though, much like a Chrono Trigger remake, I doubt it. Still, what we did get was quite good, and I'll take that for what it's worth. Thank you to everyone for watching. I've changed up how I approach videos. Let me know if you prefer this format or my other video formats. Please make sure to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one, and check out my other videos on my channel. I put a lot of work in these videos, and I greatly appreciate those who watch them. Oh, I was also on a podcast-style show not that long ago called Textbox, hosted by Shin0555, where I talked about video games. He's got a whole channel where he talks about video games, the industry as a whole, emulation, anime series, the works. Definitely check him out. The episode Textbox should probably be out by the time this video goes live, so I'm going to leave a link in the description, so definitely check that out. This is WizPlay, and that's enough of that.